Brodes Media.
Purdy's going to be scared all night long when he sees this defensive front get there. Oh, it's going to be magnificent. You saw the blunders. They almost didn't get that field goal off at the end of the first half, and I have no idea what Kyle Shanahan was doing with clock management. The details were pathetic. Mitchell running out of bounds. Their special teams, whether it's fumbling the football or allowing Dallas to get some good field position, they had some wobbleness in their game. I think Kyle Shanahan and clock management, something along those lines, we're going to be discussing Sunday night as an issue that went wrong for San Fran. But I bet you we're going to be crediting how loud and obnoxious and how hostile the environment is, because I believe that that's going to go a long way. Now, I'm stunned and I'm shocked that the line opened up at 1.5. I do see it some places 2, and I do see it actually creeping up a little bit by a half a point. I bet you by the time it's kickoff, it's flirting around that 3 range, which I think if you told me Eagles minus 3.5, that's probably what I think is a fair line for this. Open it up so small, I'm like, that's weird. But I'll keep it consistent. That tells me, because Vegas does know a lot, the 49ers have a chance. But this is the NFC Championship game. Of course. You don't see many huge, big-time blowouts. No, we did against Minnesota in 2017, 38-7, just in case you forgot. So it's not impossible. I think 1.5 is super tiny. I think 2 is super tiny. I think 3.5 makes about right. It makes about sense. That's about right. We'll see, though, if it pushes to that with the bets. But, man, I'm not afraid. I'm feeling great. I watched that game, and I feel better about it. And you know what? For weeks now, we've always somewhat been looking ahead at what else was in the NFC. I'm talking really when the playoffs first began, before the Super Wild Card weekend. So I'm talking before the Eagles even played a game, because they had the bye week, in case you forgot. The team that was kicking back, relaxing, and just waiting for their opponent, it was like, okay, who should we be afraid of? What are some of the matchups? And I'm like, let's cool down a little bit. Let's wait until we get there. We'll probably see the 49ers, but I'm not ready to start breaking down exactly what I think is going to happen. Let's wait until we get there. Now here we are. And when it comes to this league, 99.9% of the time, there's one position that I'm studying intensely. And I'm looking at that matchup and I go, okay, right? Because Shanahan's creativity versus Jonathan Gannon, of course, there's going to be a little bit of fear that maybe they can find ways to scheme open some wide open plays. But at the same time, if Hassan Reddick and if these dogs, Josh Sweat, if they're capable of creating that pressure and being a force up front in the trenches, they're not going to be able to do that. Brock Purdy's going to be running for his damn life and probably having some happy feet. I watched him run around a little bit, and he had a little happy feet going. Once again, this team, and say what you want about Parsons, and say what you want about the defense of Dallas, which is not a pushover by any means. Go look at what the Eagles' defensive front this year did, and look at what came in second place in regards to sacks. The separation is monstrous. It's not as if they're a little bit better in that area. It's not as if they're just a tiny bit better in that area. Light years ahead. Light years. Now, both teams are top 5 in regards to offense and defense. So, but I'm sorry, I can't just forget that, wow, it's impressive to win 12 games. I don't care who your quarterback is. We watched with Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew couldn't even win a damn football game. So it's hard when you're losing Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, now you're on Purdy. Winning 12 football games is winning 12 football games no matter what your opponent is or who they are or how bad they are, because you look at that back end of the 49ers schedule, and while, yes, there is some recognition that they didn't play the most lethal weapons, and they weren't playing the Philadelphia Eagles on the road in an NFC Championship game, right? Week 14, Week 15, Week 16. It is not what you're about to experience in this city. So there's not a full-on correlation. But you win those games, it's hard to win that many no matter what the circumstances are. But even with all those details, you have a quarterback with the Eagles that you win because of. And I'll stand by that premise. You have a way better chance of winning in this league when that's the case. Cincinnati wins because of Joe Burrow. Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, they win because of Pat Mahomes. Now, he's in a little bit weird spot because of the injury and whatnot, but I'm just talking from the general sense. The Eagles only lost one football game all year long, and they won all the rest when Jalen Hurts started. Jalen Hurts is why that happens. I'm feeling good as hell because I know in the most important position in the sport, ding, 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 and I respect the hell out of their defensive coordinator. We know that he's a very talented mind. But I know so is Shane Steichen, who put on a clinic with play calling. And I know Nick Sirianni and this team, they don't make those mistakes that you watched the 49ers make. They left the door open. You can't leave the door open against the Eagles. It's funny, right? Because I'm watching, and Diggs missed an interception too. That one hit right in his hands. It hit his chest even after, I think there was a deflection there at the line of scrimmage. But the fact that he couldn't make that play is ridiculous. That's the only reason why you're out there. You pick the ball off. You get interceptions. How you let that one slide right through your fingertips is somewhat embarrassing. But I laugh because Dak throws interceptions, right? And here's San Fran getting the ball. And at times I'm like, damn, that offense. I think to myself, because I'm mapping everything out in my head, right? If the Eagles played Dallas and Dallas did something very similar, what's the difference than what I saw out there with the 49ers? And I go, yeah, Jalen Hurts puts that in the end zone. Jalen Hurts is scoring X amount of points off those turnovers. Jalen Hurts, the game completely changes with those two turnovers. That's what happens. You take the game over. You watched it happen against the Giants. You score early, you get the football back, you score again, you get the football back, you score. Although the one time they did get the interception with James Bradbury, they didn't score on that particular possession. But all the ones surrounding it, yeah, it was over before you knew it. Their defense is going to be intense. No doubt about it. San Francisco, that is. And while their offense can get creative and scheme guys open, will they be able to do it long enough? And would they be able to do it as effectively? I don't know. I don't think so. Just wait until Brock Purdy is taking a snap for the first time and it feels like there's 70,000 people swarming. He's going to be suffocated by the noise, and then the game's just going to happen that much faster. I'd be stunned if this kid just does it again. You'd think at some point this foundation cracks a bit. He's done a nice job. I'll say the same thing this week that I said last week against the Giants. The Dallas Cowboys, they're not the Philadelphia Eagles in South Philadelphia.